Hello and welcome to Conversations with Esther. Thank you, Jay, and thank you everyone for making time. I would like us to begin with this session. Allow me to pray so that we kick off. Lord, we thank you for this session. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you, Lord, even for bringing us here. Thank you for Jay. We pray that you will teach us and you will lead us in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, so welcome for those that are joining us for the very first time. Welcome to Conversations with Esther. Allow me to walk you through who we are, what we do, what we stand for, then we can move to the session tonight. So, Conversations with Esther is an impact-driven professional platform that transforms your view on matters mental health, human resource, legal, and your holistic wellness. And on that note, it's Men's Mental Health Month. We advise that men take care of themselves and learn to speak out. And it is okay for the men in the room not to be okay. And asking for help is not a sign of weakness. So we ignite ethical and authentic leadership while promoting best practice within industries. Conversations with Esther equips you and the workplace with relevant legal, human resource, and holistic wellness skills through corporate training, motivational talks, end-to-end HR consultancy support, and career mentorship programs. Guided by our three values, integrity, excellence, and impact, we envision a workplace transformed by professional conversations, respectable relationships, and intentional leadership. Now, an alert here, we have a training that is coming up, and I know Jay has shared this as well. A training that is coming up on 2nd and 3rd of July. We bring you the very best. We bring you training and conversations that are aligned to your work and to the needs of the market. Now, we have this training on 2nd to 3rd of July 2026. It will be at the Chaka Hotel, Machakos. The charges are 40,000 VAT exclusive, and this is 40,000 is for the conference fees. The pay bill account are on the poster. We will share this poster. Now, for the HR professionals in the room, you get 4 CPD points by attending this conference. 4 CPD points by just attending this. So this is worth every investment, every coin for you navigating employment and labor relations in Kenya. We know how tricky this has been. We know how complex it's been. You're waking up every day and something has changed on SHA, something has changed on NSSF, something has changed in the labor laws. This will be a deep conversation. Our guest speaker will be Honorable Mr. Justice Nzioki wa Makau. Now, Honorable Justice Nzioki wa Makau sits in the Employment and Labor Relations Court in Kenya. One of the finest we have. One of the finest. So we will have serious conversations. So 4 CPD points for you. We are NITA registered for those that have been asking for this. And I know there's been a conversation. Do we have CPD points as HR professionals? We want a training that will give us CPD points. 4 CPD points for you. I want us to look at this because this one is key. As organizations continue to navigate an increasingly complex employment landscape, it is no longer sufficient for labor knowledge to reside solely within HR departments, because there's been a misunderstanding that labor laws, when we talk even about this training of navigating the labor laws in this country, everyone says that's for human resource. But I want us to leave that, and it's no longer sufficient that labor laws are only understood by the HR department. Leaders at every level of the organization influence workplace culture, employee relations, compliance, talk about safety, talk about procurement, talk about finance, employee relations, compliance, productivity, and organizational reputation through their daily decisions and actions. Now, equipping managers and supervisors with both labor law knowledge and leadership skills will help your organization to reduce workplace disputes and legal risks. It will foster trust and constructive employee relations. It will improve communication and collaboration across teams. It will strengthen employee engagement and retention. It will enhance organizational performance and culture. It will build stronger employer brands that attract and retain talent. So labor law knowledge is not just for HR departments, it is for all leaders in the organization. So that's why this conference or this training is open for all leaders navigating employment and labor relations. It is open to CEOs, it is open to directors, it is open for managers, whether in HR or in production, finance, it is open for all. So we hope to see you there. We go in today, I'll share that poster in the chat and the registration link so that you can proceed. How to ace that job. How to ace that job. The difference between getting shortlisted and getting hired often comes down to knowing what recruiters are looking for and positioning yourself effectively. There's a very big difference, and people will keep asking Jay and ourselves, why is it that I get so close? I get shortlisted, but I don't get hired. In this session, you will learn how recruiters identify top candidates, what makes a CV and LinkedIn profile stand out, how to prepare for and excel in interviews, the mistakes that cost candidates job opportunities, strategies for building a strong professional brand, and how to increase your chances of landing your dream job. We have the best in the industry. My very good friend, Jay Walemba, or JCVs as we know him. Jay has continued to position very many locally and globally in the job market. So allow me to give the stage to Jay. He is, I call him my young brother. I respect him in his space and he has delivered professionally. Karibu sana, Jay.
Thank you so much, my sister Esther, for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you're joining us from. I'm so glad to be here again, part 2 of this Meet the Recruiter series. And it's always an amazing opportunity to just speak to you guys about an area that I'm so passionate about. And I believe that through this conversation, it will be able to have a positive impact on your career, and also help you achieve those dreams. So allow me to share my screen. And even as I share my screen, I want us to ask ourselves, what is it that is what is that is preventing you from achieving your dream career? And just today, just gotten some of the things we do that we believe might have an impact. Today, I've one of my clients has been appointed as a CEO in one of the state parastatals, and I'm so glad because I did her CV just the other day, and I believe that that is the kind of impact that we're looking up to, even as we join this webinar. So, how to ace that dream job? How to ace that dream job is our topic for tonight. And I believe that this is a topic that is affecting every job seeker, unless now you are in self-employment. And even in self-employment, there are sometimes you need to be up to speed so that you can get the opportunities, maybe consultant opportunities. So you need as well to have a great visibility. So by the end of this session, we should be able to understand what recruiters are looking for, avoid common mistakes in job search, build a strong CV and LinkedIn profile, develop a strong professional brand, prepare effectively for interviews, and then increase your chances for getting hired. And just feedback, I got feedback from our first session that we had. That one of there's an attendee who attended this webinar, and she's been making mistakes because she could always send her CV with the documents attached, even when they are not asked for. So after that session, the next day she made an application and she got an interview. So we're still waiting for feedback for the same. And I believe that that is the kind of feedback that we are looking for even as we tune in. So because we should have an immediate impact from our sessions, because I believe that the information you are offering is very practical, and having or being in the industry, it's something that you feel that you always something that you feel that you always we are always giving real time strategies that you need to apply and be able to meet your career goals. So one thing we need to understand that there's high competition for every job opportunity. Even as you apply for these opportunities, why do we have our CVs revamped? Why do we have our LinkedIn profiles revamped? It's so that now they can give you an opportunity to get. You are positioning yourself for that opportunity, and when you position yourself for that opportunity, you are doing this because there are several of us, similar candidates that are vying for the same positions. So recruiters review applications just in seconds, and especially where they are not using the ATS system, it becomes so tough for candidates. And I believe that a candidate should be able to position themselves, especially in the CV, so that both manual and automatic systems can be able to pick their CVs. So skills alone do not guarantee selection. One thing we need to understand is that in most cases, you'll find that that's why we have people asking that I need that job to get experience. And then the employer is saying that I need that experience for you to get the job done. So we need to understand that skills alone do not guarantee selection. And attitude as well is one of the main contributors for you being selected as a candidate. So presentation influences perception. As a job seeker, how you present yourself, starting from the CV, starting from the job application, it really tells a lot about you, and it gives a perception to the recruiters that this is the person we're looking for, or this is not a good hire for us. So recruiters, even from the time you enter the interview room, sometimes the recruiters will just shut off because they feel that your attitude is not the right attitude for that organization. And the presentation as well tells a lot. So small differences create big outcomes, especially where now it's starting in as we are starting as entry levels. The small differences in your CV, the small differences in your communication, the small differences in your attitude, how you present yourself, and how you are open to learning, open to even going an extra mile for you to be able to have a role, a function or an activity delivered is something that it brings out a big change even in the job search journey and even to the potential employer. So what are recruiters evaluating as you go for the interview? What are recruiters looking for? So they are looking for the role relevance at a first glance. How relevant are you to that specific role that you've applied for? Evidence of impact and results. Nowadays, I've told people that I always tell people that even at internship or attachment level, you need to have impact in that organization. So your CV should be impact based and not just JD based. Career direction and consistency, especially when you are getting to mid-level opportunities, mid-level and senior level, you should have a clear career path. We should not have you applying for a branch manager in the banking industry when you've been working as an accountant in a manufacturing enterprise. So that does not show consistency. And it is very rare for you to get an opportunity in that area. That's why you'll see in senior positions they're asking for. If it's the banking sector, they are looking for someone with 10 years plus and maybe 5 years of leadership experience in the same industry. So having a career plan is the best thing for any professional. It enhances how you grow. It also dictates the kind of jobs that you apply for. And I'm sure that you have people that will still apply for any job. As a job seeker, if you have a career plan, it means that you should be able to even understand the kind of, highlight the kind of employers you'll want to work for. Communication clarity. This is also something that the recruiters are looking at. When you ask question, how are you responding to these questions? Are you clear? Are you listening actively? Are you able to explain a scenario using the STAR method and let the recruiters understand it? Are you able to look at every panelist in that interview room? So those are some of the things that we're looking at in terms of communication. Then professional maturity and attitude. Are you emotionally mature in terms of, is your emotional intelligence very is it really visible in terms of how you communicate, how you react to some of the recruiters, some of the interviewers might have asked insensitive questions. How do you react to that? How is your attitude? Do you have an attitude that will be influenced by the kind of questions you're receiving, or you have an attitude that is very mature? So look at that, and then the potential for growth. If we hire you in our organization, are there opportunities for you to grow and even you to help the company grow? In most cases, candidates will only ask about themselves. Will I have an opportunity to grow? But the recruiter is as well asking, are we able to grow our organization? By you coming in, are we able to grow our organization? So all those are some of the things that recruiters are looking for from us as job seekers. So we should be able to align ourselves and be able to respond to this question even before you go for interviews, even before you make that application. So how hiring decisions are actually made. Number one, CV screening, the first elimination stage. The work of a recruiter or the work of a HR in an interview panel is for them to just reduce the number of applicants. And how do we reduce the number of applicants? We reduce the number of applicants by looking at the CV and being able to highlight some of the mistakes in that CV, whether it is the experience, whether it is the grammar, whether it is the content of that CV. So we are able now to eliminate you based on what we are seeing on that document. If your CV is not well aligned in terms of also growth, we're looking at someone that has been started working as an an accounts as intern, move to an accounts assistant position, move to accountant. But for you, maybe you started as an accounts intern, you went to sales, you've been to customer service, and then you want to come back again to accounting, just realizing that you did accounting at high school, at university. So now you want to come back again to accounting. That is not going to happen, especially if you're keen on that position. The other day I was, I think 2 days ago, I was recruiting for an accountant, and I have this person that is currently her CV is showing that she's working as a salesperson. The other role she held before that was a loan officer, and then she had an accounting internship. So when a recruiter is hiring for an accountant, will you give her an opportunity? Yeah. Will you give her an opportunity where other 80% of the other candidates that have applied for that position have the relevant experience that you are looking for? Now, especially where the recruiters are people that are recruiting on behalf of clients, a client will want you to give them the best in terms of the candidates that you're giving them. You are also in business. You want to keep that business. You don't want just to recruit one day and forget that you had a relationship with that client. So even as recruiters, we might want to have you get an opportunity, but because how your document is positioned, we end up not even giving you an opportunity. Shortlisting based on match and clarity. Now, we want someone that has 5 years experience in the manufacturing sector. You've never worked in the manufacturing sector, you've been in the service industry all your career. Then now you've made an application on the basis that you might be lucky. Especially where for senior positions, the recruiters take more time just to be able to ensure that they are giving the best candidate to that potential client or even to the organization they are working for. So we interview for competence and fit. Even as we ask you, why should we hire you? We want to understand how do you align your skills? How do you align your attributes? How do you align your values to to those of that organization? So we are not interviewing you just for the sake. We are interviewing you and picking the specific skills that you want from that interview or that conversation, and also assessing how fit you are to that role, and even how you're going to fit the culture. As an organization, especially now, the interviewers understand the culture of that organization. Is it a culture where teamwork is key? So he'll ask you questions, especially when you're doing the situational questions, the STAR method. We'll ask you questions based on that. How well do you tell us about a situation where you are able to accomplish a task in a team? So you should be able to tell us what happened and how you are able to do this. So the recruiters are asking these questions because they know the kind of culture in the organization. They know the kind of how this position or how this role fits in that organization, and they know the kind of environment that they are in. So any question they are asking, they are basing on the real, on the ground information. Final selection based on value and confidence. What value are you bringing on board? How confident are you with your skills? And I remember last time I told you that the best candidate gets the job. The best interviewee gets the job and not the best candidate. Sometimes you have candidates that are very good with responding to questions. But others, we have candidates that are good but are not able even to show that confidence, to elude the confidence and even be able to communicate clearly. That's why you find that some organizations now are adopting what you call the assessments, where now they'll have an assessment and have an average of the assessment in the face-to-face interview. 1 week area can eliminate strong candidates. In most cases, you'll find that sometimes the weak area is just the referees that you have on your CV. They might not recommend you for the job. They might badmouth you, and then you end up missing the job. So what are the purposes of a CV? So a CV is to earn attention quickly to that potential employer. It also shows relevance instantly. Then it proves capability through evidence. Even as we talk about the impact you've had in the previous organization, your CV should be able now to prove that. Then it creates interest for an interview call. The reason why we get interviews is because of our CVs. The recruiter hires you before they hires your CV before they hire you. So your CV is your marketing tool as a job seeker. Let that marketing tool market you in the best way possible. It's not to document everything you've done, but it's to give everything that is relevant for you to get that interview. And that's why we talk about customizing your CV every time you're making an application. So building a high impact CV, number one thing, you need to have a clear and well-structured layout. It should be targeted to each role. Then it should have a strong professional summary. In most cases, especially where you have the ATS system coming out strongly, where you have to develop a profile online and be able to make that application, the ATS system will really rely on the summary and the areas of expertise in most cases. So an achievement-driven experience, as I've said, that anyone who has over 3 months of working experience should have impact on their CV. Then the strategic keyword use, this is where basically you have the areas of expertise or the key competences, where now you're picking the technical skills for you for that specific area. Then it's easy to scan in under 20 seconds. Now, when you're looking at the first page of your CV, we should be able to make a decision whether I should move to page 2 and ultimately page 3. But most of us, our page 1 does not have content. So that's why we end up not getting shortlisted, especially where it's being done by a human being. These people get tired. And when you get tired looking at some boring CVs, you might leave a candidate, they might even leave a candidate out because of a good candidate out because of how they are positioned their CV. So make sure that you do have that clear CV. What makes a CV stand out? Number one, you need to be it show results in set of just responsibility. And the results should be numbers, outcomes, and improvements. It should have strong action verbs, clean visual hierarchy, relevant experience should be prioritized, and consistency in formatting and tone. There are people that have more than 5 fonts on their CVs. You've done Times Roman, New Times, you have done Calibri, you've done Kandara, you've done Vadana, you've done Georgia. And so your CV is mixed. And that is now some of the reason that you don't get an opportunity, because some of the jobs that you're applying for are jobs that will need us to have attention to detail as one of the main skills. But you've not even shown attention to details in your own CV. How will you be able to show that attention to detail when given an opportunity? So some of the attributes that you get on the job adverts are the attributes that you should really rely on and focus on even when you're doing the applications. Then LinkedIn as a digital CV. LinkedIn gives you the professional identity. It's just a professional identity that is giving you. And one thing that we need to understand is that LinkedIn, you can develop a CV from your LinkedIn. You just go to LinkedIn and you are able to save it in a PDF and use it even as a CV. If you have a good LinkedIn, it should be able now to do that even as you apply for opportunities. Recruiters actively search on LinkedIn, especially now where they are searching for specific talent, what you call headhunting. So a strong headline communicates value. What does your headline talk about you? Then summary defines your positioning. The summary in your CV defines your positioning. The other thing we need to understand is that activity builds credibility. The kind of the activity that you've written on your CV, especially on the experience section, it builds credibility. And on LinkedIn, I always insist that as well, we don't do the JD, the responsibilities, we do the impact. The LinkedIn should complement your CV, not duplicate it. You don't just copy paste the content of the CV to LinkedIn, but it should be able to complement it. In case now someone asks for your LinkedIn URL, not just the CV, you need to be able to confidently share your LinkedIn URL and have that person look at it. Let that digital CV market you. So interview readiness. Number one thing you need to do, even before you go for that interview, you need to have a deep understanding of the role. You need to prepare structured responses. You need to clearly give examples of experience. And the best way to respond in an interview is using the real-time examples. For example, tell us about a time you are able to show leadership. Talk about a real example that you've experienced. There's this day, my immediate supervisor was on leave or had proceeded for maternity leave, and I was left in charge of the department. So I used to delegate these and these. I used to sign these documents. I used to approve leave. To talk about what happened in real-time examples, and using real-time examples to respond to the interview, it makes the recruiters or the interviewers relate with the situation very easily. Then you need to show awareness of the company and even the background. What does the company do? What is the vision and mission of that organization, and how can you align your values to that of that organization? So this should be something. This should be something that is coming out so naturally. You should not have an issue talking about the company and how it aligns to your values. Then confidence built through practice. So even as you do the mock interviews with friends or even the mentor or even with the professional, if they build your confidence, they build your confidence in the best way possible. So ability to communicate value clearly. You should be able to communicate your value clearly. Sometimes when you are asked about what are your salary expectations, a lot of candidates at this point start fidgeting. You don't know your value. Even as before you go for that interview, what is your value? What will you feel that is something that you should be getting for the service that you're going to provide for this organization? You are going to sell your services. So if you are to sell your services on the road, beside the road or pale kwa kibanda, what will you tell people that is your value? How does the mama mboga know that the 3 sticks of kales is 10 or 20 shillings? The same way you should be able to understand that this value I'm bringing on board is the value I'm bringing on board is worth this amount. So the question about salary, I know some of you will be asking me how to respond to that, but the question about salary goes back to how you value yourself. What value do you see? Then what interviewers are testing? Number one, clarity of thought and communication. Are you able to tell your story without looking at any document? Are you able to clearly understand that this is what you've been? Tell your story from how you started your career, where you are, the value you brought to to the organization that you worked for, and even the impact. Are you able to tell that clearly? Problem solving ability to work under pressure. Problem solving is one of the biggest skills employers are looking for at this point. Then the professional attitude and behavior, how you carry yourselves will really matters. Whether on at work or off work, you should be able to maintain that professional attitude. Sometimes you, in some positions, you find yourself carrying the name of that organization, the brand of the organization. And when you carry a brand, you should always ensure that your behavior relates to the values of that organization. They are testing for confidence without arrogance. Even as you show that you are confident, do not show pride. Let your confidence be very professional. Technical ability and role understanding. As we talked about, in most cases, you'll find that the HR professionals are there just to test, to look at the compliance and issues to do with policies. But for you, and even the Employment Act, but there's someone that comes in the interview room, especially where it's a technical role, who are looking at the technical ability you have for that and understanding for that role. Maybe they are asking, how do we maybe diagnose a car? So the technical ability, your technical ability should be able, with your technical ability, you should be able to explain from the diagnosis and how you ensure that from the root cause analysis and how you ensure that you diagnose that car. Alignment with the team and culture. So that is why they're asking you, are you, tell us about your experience working in a team. Tell us about your leadership abilities. So they are looking at this because they know the culture of that organization. Sometimes culture as well goes back even to dress code. So your dress code, even during the interview, might be a reason we don't hire you because the dress code does not even, the first impression lasts. The dress code on the first impression might not even be close to what our culture stands for. Some of the common mistakes that eliminate candidates in the job search journey: generic or untargeted CVs. Your CV is not talking about what you're looking for. Your CV is not customized to fit that specific job. Lack of preparation, especially for interviews. Number 3, you have weak or unclear communication. Number 4, you have overly long and cluttered CVs. Today I received someone's CV. It was 7 pages long, and it's not clear. It's not talking about how we can be, what value you bring to the organization. It's not talking about what you're looking for clearly. Then ignoring instructions in applications. This is one of the biggest mistakes that eliminate most job seekers. The recruiters clearly ask someone to send their CV alone. You go ahead, do a cover letter, and even attach your certificates. They have asked for a CV and cover letter as one document. You send them separately. They have asked for your LinkedIn URL. You go ahead and send your CV as well. So always make sure that you are following instructions. In the interview process, the recruitment process starts at the point you are making that application. So any mistake made on the application will highly impact on the decision the recruiter takes. So no follow-up or professionalism. Instead of making professional follow-up, some of us inbox the recruiters asking, not even in a professional way, hi. The recruiter should respond, hi, how are you? Did you fill this position? So do it in a professional way. Do a complete message to this recruiter so that they can even get time to respond to that. Then why does personal branding matter? Your reputation before you enter the room will really matter. Sometimes we talk about even doing the simple things. Saying hi to that gate man, saying hi to the receptionist. Some of the things that we don't do. You get to the interview room, you have your earphones, to the interview location, you have your earphones on, you are shown a seat, and you just sit with your earphones still on, not even saying hi. Your online presence reflects your professionalism, especially on LinkedIn. How do you operate on LinkedIn? How do you operate on other social media platforms? Your online presence, especially for professionals, it's LinkedIn that really matters. But even because LinkedIn matters, how do you operate on other social media platforms? What do you post on our statuses? Yeah. What do you stand for as a professional? That also should count. So consistency builds trust. Consistent not in terms of posting memes, but consistent in being very professional. And one thing that we, as job seekers, we've never known, and I think it's high time that you know. Sometimes you never know who is looking at your profile. You never know who is looking at your WhatsApp status. Someone might make a decision based on what they see on your WhatsApp status. So let's be very keen, especially when building an online presence. Skills, visibility, and credibility. On your online presence, when you have the skills and you have a professional visibility, it shows credibility. Employers check you beyond your CV. even as we do the background checks, I'm sure we have heard about this. Some employers will go even further to checking your social media platforms. There are organizations that will ask for your social media handles while making applications. Before they make a decision to shortlist you, they will have gone through your social media platforms and made a decision now, make a decision based on now the credibility, the authenticity they see from that. And if sometimes you post negative content, maybe bad mouthing your previous employer, that is also something that will have you eliminated. So let's be so intentional about the kind of brand that you're building. Every interaction is branding. So even as you interact with people, what are you telling them? What are you depicting? What are people learning from you? How are people, can people be able to understand what you do even without telling them? So be very intentional about building a brand. So how to increase your chances of getting shortlisted or getting that dream job? Tailor every application strategically. Nowadays, you have several tools online that can support you in doing this. Focus on measurable achievements. If it saved the company some money, how much was it? If it improved efficiency, how much time did it save? So let us know by talking about that impact. Then build relevant skills continuously. Even as the job market keeps evolving, what skills do you think will matter in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years? So be able to build yourself professionally, upskill to get these relevant skills. So that now, even as you apply for these opportunities, the potential employer, because in most cases you'll find that employers also are also market ready, and they are looking at the evolving market, the market trends, and they're looking at what to expect in the next 5 years or 10 years. So when they see you committed to ensuring that you upskill or develop professionally, it also gives you an added advantage. So network intentionally and professionally. I've always said that 70%, 60 to 70% of the opportunities will never be advertised. You'll never see them advertised. Those opportunities are coming from the networks. Then seek feedback and improve constantly. In case you don't get don't get any communication after the interview, you need to seek feedback and improve constantly. So what did you do wrong? What do you need to do to improve? So follow up communication with the recruiters is very key as well, because uh, it gives you an opportunity for you to really understand the mistakes that you've made and how you can be able to improve on that. Then apply purpose, not volume. The other day we were in a forum, and we had someone that had just had internship experience applying for a CEO position. Is it relevant for that person to apply for such positions? A position that is looking for someone that has been in the industry for 10 years, you're applying it with just 3 months of your attachment. So the key takeaways from tonight's session is you need to position yourself strategically. Number 2 thing, you need to make every application intentional. For me, it's just that I'm not in the job search space. And if I was a job seeker, every application that I'll be making, I will at least come out with an interview. Every application that you make, you need to at least come out with an interview, because you have the opportunity to be able to do that. Then invest in your professional brand. Stay persistent and adaptable. Sometimes the job search job search is a journey that has ups and downs. Sometimes you get disappointed. Sometimes you feel like giving up. So staying persistent is very key for you to be able to ensure that you get to the other side of the river. So thank you so much. I'll be welcoming any questions that you have. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for that insightful Session, I see. No, but how are you doing? No, but saying 1 week area can eliminate a strong candidate. So we need to be very careful. Nobody's also asking, where do you highlight your achievements in a CV? Is it after every role held? Asking on behalf of a silent majority.
Uh, Now, the CV for me, I believe that impact is one of the things that will determine the decision of a recruiter, of that potential recruiter. I'll want the achievements to be in one part on the first page of your CV. Just after the summary, I think you can have a title there and then have your CVs highlighted. Sorry, your achievements highlighted.
Good, thank you. Jerry says, make every application intentional. Step assistant, how do you ensure you do not experience application burnout?
Now, one of the things that we need to do is, as job seekers, is that we must have a plan. And as I said, that if you are a job seeker, you have an opportunity to make every application count. And how do you make this every application count? One thing you need to do, you need to understand that you need to have a clear plan that I'm applying for positions A, B, C only. Now, sometimes we get lost on the way. You forget that you had a plan and now start operating like number 6 in a football pitch. What I mean is that sometimes some roles will entice us based on now on the salary. So when you look at the salary of another role that you didn't even have a plan to apply, you start now looking at it as a potential opportunity for you to apply. So you apply for this position, then get invited for an interview, you start getting stressed. So for you to stay persistent and even to avoid this burnout, you need to have clear that I can only apply for role 1, 2, 3, 4. Any other role not in my line, I'll not go for it. So that one helps you, keeps you sane. Now you don't get the burnout. And also, I will not want a situation where job seekers have a specific time to apply for opportunities. Some opportunities are very urgent. Someone advertises for I find myself doing that most of the time because I'm looking at I'm looking at what the recruiter is looking at, what my client wants. A client tells you that I want a receptionist in the next 5 hours, so that or by noon. That means that I should advertise. If I'm advertising for this position, maybe I should do it in 2 hours and then be able to shortlist. And so if you're that person that says that CV yangu iko kwa laptop home, then you might not even get an opportunity to get to the interview. By the time you're getting back home, candidates have been shortlisted and invited for that interview. You're applying for something that is already closed. So have a clear plan and then be able to choose the kind of jobs that you want to go for. So even as you choose the kind of jobs you want to go for, it helps you even in your growth. You don't now find yourself all over. You find yourself in a clear line.
Good, thank you. I don't know whether we have any other question as I put something up on the screen once again. Do we have any other question? The silent majority likes that answer. No, but you're the one speaking for the silent majority. Do you have any other questions? Someone can unmute. Feel free to unmute and just ask your question.
There's a question on the chat section from Cerebua Petronila. Is it true that the job description in the advert can guide the candidate on how to study the interview? It's very true. And the only conversation where you have a predetermined, you have a leakage is the interview. Because already the JD will guide you on how you should be able to, you should study for the interview. So some of the areas might be, especially where the technical questions comes in. And even for example, you are in HR and they are asking you about, you've seen one of the um, responsibilities and the JD is that you should have a good understanding of the labor and employment relations. Now, that is where now you expect to get questions like, tell us about how you handle a disciplinary issue. So it will always give you that guide. And in most cases, you'll find that almost 50% of the technical questions will come from that JD.
Good. And it's true, Jay. Actually, it should be more than 80% of the questions should be towards that, because that's going to be your role, essentially. The rest will be more relational. As a recent Yvonne, as a recent graduate, should I specialize first for a certain role? For example, a BBIT and CPA graduate.
Yvonne, I think I've seen that question from Yvonne, and I think I know Yvonne. One of the questions I always ask myself is that Yvonne did BBIT, and what is your reason for doing CPA? That comes out when you respond to this question, Yvonne. Then it gives it a clear picture on what kind area you want to focus on, because BBIT and CPA will rarely complement each other. So you're looking at BCom finance and CPA complementing each other, but BBIT and CPA complementing each other is a bit tough. So what is the reason behind you taking CPA? So once you respond to this question, now it gives it a clear career. It can be able to help us get a clear career path for you, because you did this, you did the you handled you did this you were done with BBIT, and instead maybe for going something that will complement BBIT, you went for CPA. So you have your own reasons why you went for CPA, and even now as you look for an opportunity, it will be very clear. And when I look at your qualifications, um, you being able to compete with someone that has done BCom finance and has CPA, and you that has done BBIT and has CPA, someone will go for someone with finance and CPA. So the reason behind you undertaking CPA after BBIT will help us unlock the kind of career that you should align, or the career path that you should follow. And for that reason, maybe we can side chat me during office hours so that you have a candid conversation on why you did CPA, you went for CPA, and what really your career plan is.
But I see someone asking you, what if you do all these things and you still don't get a job or even an interview? You've done all that. That's from Ruth. You've done
Ruth,
everything. Yes.
I know sometimes it's very discouraging and disgusting that you do all these things and you don't get an interview. One of the things that I would like to do, maybe just to support Ruth, is maybe we can have a conversation where you can send me you can just forward me one of the applications that you've made, and then I can be able to look at it and see if there are any mistakes that you made. And the other thing, number two thing that you need to understand is that you might be a last minute person. The job is closing at 5. You send your application at 4:56. That is also a bad habit. Some of the roles, and Esther and any other HR recruiter that is in the room will agree with me, especially where an opportunity is advertised by a recruitment firm. Never ever go for last minute. Sometimes, just like when you are in the house, maybe you have kids, or you have your house help. Once you are done eating, maybe and you have some dirty plates on the sink. you'll ask them to go clean them. That is the same way, because maybe she was just seated and looking at watching TV, and you find that they are dirty place you go. That is the same way that it happens in a recruitment firm. Your boss find you sitting and they ask you, check the email. Do you have any application on the email? So they tell this person start shortlisting even before the deadline for that role. So you end up not getting an opportunity because you applied for that opportunity late. And sometimes they even interview before the deadline. So let's be very intentional about the times we make to apply for these opportunities.
That's true. That's true. And that's why when you see applications or job adverts written on a rolling basis, it means it can even close the same day. As soon as we get a candidate, we close it. Hi, Jay, how long could someone follow up from recruiter after first interview to avoid recruiters assuming you're desperate due to frequent call or text after response that you have passed first interview and you will be recalled for second interview?
Now, in most cases, in most interviews, you'll be told that we'll get back to you after 1 week, after 2 weeks, or next week. So it is very okay for you to wait until the lapse of that period that you've been given. Then after that, you can do an official email just to follow up. I know most of us, being job seekers, sometimes you go to the first interview and you feel that you've really nailed it, but you forget that you are not the only candidate. There are other candidates that maybe nailed it more than you did. So one thing that you look forward to is closure. So you just want to ensure that before I go for another opportunity, I've been able to close this. So following up after the elapse of that period is the best thing to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I don't see any other question, but I would like to remind the audience in the room that we have an upcoming training that we have mentioned. As you can see on your screen, that's the Navigating Employment and Labor Relations in Kenya. This is critical and crucial for every employee, not just the HR professionals. 2nd to 3rd of July 2026 at Chaka Hotel, Machakos. Book your spot in good time. HR professionals in the room, you have 4 CPD points. We got an approval for the 4 CPD points. The charges are 40,000 for the 2 days, and you get to interact with one of the best, one of the finest, Honorable Mr. Justice Nzioki wa Makau, who sits in the Employment and Labor Relations Court, and other legal professionals. So I have pinned that information. Please keep an eye, check on the pinned message, and in the chat, the link for registration is there. Register, and we see you there. You will not regret. Jay, maybe as we close, you could tell us about the Employability Summit that's coming up, and also tell us how we can reach you.
Yes. Thank you so much for that opportunity again. We have one of the biggest summits in Africa, and it's the Employability Summit, where we are hosting it in the CBD this Saturday. And the Employability Summit, last year we had an Employability Summit that had over 200 participants attend. And out of the participants, we have people that came out clearly saying that they were able to get opportunities after that. So I believe that these are your opportunity as well to just come and experience this. We are looking forward to, let me just share this. You can see on your screen, that is the poster for the Employability Summit. Those are some of our speakers. And we are only charging 600. The 600 will cater for your lunch, where we'll have, it will also have soda water and then a fruit. And then we'll have 2 panel discussions. I will have Q&A. We'll have the keynote speaker, and then we'll call it a day. We'll have some employers as well on board that will be giving opportunities. So if you are seeking, don't miss out. This is an opportunity for you to meet with some of the biggest and influential professionals in different fields. We have those in HR, we have those in legal, we have those in mental wellness, we have those in AI, we have those in branding, and we have those in entrepreneurship as well. So this is a good time for you to register and let's experience this. I'll be these are my numbers on the card, as I'll as well share my number on the chat section. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Jay. See you there. I see one more question from Martha on Netmas. Maybe as our last one as we close, but allow me first to go to someone here asking, Benson, I'm asking whether for people who are on Saturday till midday, we can join in the afternoon. Absolutely, it's a full day. It's a full day event. So, Martha, as we close, is how can one change careers, for example, from BCom HRM to being an accountant, and is CPA enough?
To respond to that, it depends with the level of what level you are in your career. For example, for an entry-level position, it's very okay to change. It's still very easy to change. An experienced professional like now, mid-level, for example, one of the biggest problems you have in transition is that we already have set our lives at a specific level. For example, you are earning in HR, you are earning 100,000. But for you again to start as an accountant, you're starting small again. Will you go for something that is paying you 40 or 30,000? So that is the biggest question. So one of the best ways for you to transition is that you start it small. And by starting small is that while you are in HR, you can start volunteering in accounting. So that now you're building experience for you to showcase even when given an opportunity in an interview. The biggest problem that we have as well in transition is that you want to transition, you have this certifications, yes. But from the certifications, are you able to prove to that potential employer that you are the candidate they're hiring? And some of the opportunities are very competitive. Like an accountant is a very competitive opportunity. So what will make you stand out? So for me, I will advise that you start with volunteering, gain the experience, and then be able to come out and start getting those interviews. Even as you volunteer, you can have the volunteering experience on your CV as the first role. Because as I've said, that recruiters are taking the little time to look at your CVs. So let the first page entice them and let them invite you for that interview.
So please, Osano, pick Jay's contact, and I'm sure he will answer your question. In the interest of time, our session begins at 7 and ends at 8. We are 15 minutes past the time. Thank you, everyone, for the session. Thank you for your participation. For those that are looking for jobs, we wish you the best. It shall be well. Thank you, Jay. See you on Saturday, and see you in Machakos on 2nd and 3rd of July. You can find this information also on our LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn, Esther Katiba. All that on the training is there. We have been live on our YouTube, Conversations with Esther Katiba. Feel free to watch this once again and to share with your friends. Thank you. God bless you. And